We are back, of course, to talk politics and more with the great Philip Klein, with a very interesting representative race already underway. Can you believe that this thing's heated up quite this fast?
Man, they're out of the chutes like horses over in Lake Charles.
I,
It's crazy. I don't know what to say, but let's go.
I guess it's just the fact that it's the Speaker of the House that has drawn and maybe I guess this polarization over in Austin regarding the Attorney General and the Speaker. I think it would
Well,
be fair to
there's
say
a right
they
wing
don't get along,
faction.
man.
Yeah, there's a right wing faction out of Austin that's trying to ouster Dade Phelan because, well, he had to make a decision on what to do with the attorney general in his trial and being impeached, and so he did his job as attorney general and passed it to the Senate. The Senate did their job, and then the attorney general was found to be not guilty, and so the system worked. But these guys on the far right, now remember, in the political world in Texas, we are now emulating Washington. You have far right political guys with the Republican Party, and you have far left political guys with the Democratic Party. And then there's everybody else in the middle. And so these far right guys came up with a brainchild idea out of Austin to get some folks to run against Dade Phelan. Now, how'd they do it? Well, David Covey, who is associated with Steve Stockman, you remember that name, huh?
Right.
So he was associated with Steve Stockman. They came up with this harebrained idea that they were going to get two candidates to run, split the vote, hopefully knock Dade Phelan out, and then they would, or at least get it to a runoff and then knock him out. And so David Covey out of Orange ran for the office, is running for the office actually. And Alicia, and what's Alicia's last name? Huh?
Davis from Jasper County.
Davis, yeah. Alicia Davis with Jasper. Now you may say, why did somebody from Orange run and why did somebody from Jasper run? Well, they want to split the vote. Okay. And so that's what they're doing. It's an old Steve Stockman trip.
You think that's the plan
It's just a trick. It's just a political trick. So then when people start playing trickery, you start going, okay, what do you have to offer to the office? Well, Davis, she's got a big donut hole. Nobody knows who this lady is. Nobody knows what her position is other than she's a conservative and she's going to get back to the rule of law, la, 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 la. Okay, that's what she has to office. Then you look at Covey, and Covey is I don't understand the guy. I mean, you talk about a guy that was a pretty popular Orange County
was a great guy.
Chairman. Yeah, I mean, this is nothing personal with these
Personally,
people.
He's a great guy.
It's their political strategy. Someone has their brain and someone's talking to them and saying, hey, look, do it this way and you'll beat him. When we did a poll, and our poll is very, very close to the Tribune's poll, which has Dade Phelan at 65, 70%, and you got Davis at less than 3%, and then you got Covey holding around 20 to 25%.
Well, I think Dade Phelan has done. Here's what I don't understand. You have to help me out.
Okay.
I think Dade Phelan has done a great job. People don't realize that he has been behind the leadership for banning this critical race theory in our schools, for crying out loud. He was out in front of constitutional carry. I mean, how conservative do you want a guy to be? $18 billion in property tax relief. He got in this time $5 billion for border security.
Yep.
He found some limits on those crazy transgender surgeries for kids that were way too young to be making the decisions like that. SB 14. How conservative do you need to be to get the vote, for goodness sake, in Texas these days?
But this isn't about conservatism. This is about repayment to Dade Phelan for what he did to the attorney general.
You think it's all just
Oh
celebration?
yeah, that's what this is all about. And Davis looks into the camera. Now she's even threatening to sue us. Oh, sue me. I don't care.
What did you
I
do
mean,
this time?
oh, I just say she's just a whack job, and she is a whack job. But the bottom line is this: is that if you want to sue me, but be sure to read Sullivan versus New York Times. You know that one, huh? Don't
Yeah, yeah,
you? Okay,
exactly.
so go ahead. You're a public person. I can call
There's
you
no
anything I can
balance
call
in this
you.
guy that
That's right.
I've
Now, as
ever
far as
seen.
Covey's concerned, I'm going to get to Platt here real
Yeah,
quick. As far as Covey's concerned, he doesn't have the guts to come out, and he doesn't have the guts to write an editorial in the fashion that this one is written by a guy named Shiloh Platt. Now, who is Shiloh Platt, y'all may ask? Shiloh Platt is just a loser from Utah. And I say that not personally, but what we know about Shiloh Platt is this. He comes from Utah. He left a bunch of debt back in Utah.
about
Came to,
$1,700, which is already paid, I'm told.
then I tell you what, he needs to call the bank because the bank says he hadn't paid it. But anyway, the
But
bottom
what
line.
is he thinking about this editorial we're seeing here? I mean,
Well,
this
so
is a
Shiloh
very
Platt comes out and he writes this editorial that's on your screen right here. And it's just a scathing editorial. But Shiloh Platt, if you look into who he is one of them. He is just a strong arm that is trying to strong arm the Speaker of the House through Covey and Davis. Okay, fine. All's fair in love and politics, right?
okay.
But then you start saying, wait a minute, isn't it say in the manual that a precinct chair is not allowed to jump off the bridge and go for one person or another? They're supposed to remain neutral during the primary. Well, there's your first violation. The second violation, which is kind of interesting, I think, is that this guy seems to be some kind of a narcissist, that he's so into himself and his black cowboy hat, and he has this podcast that 12 people watch, and he comes out and he starts talking about like he knows Texas politics. This man's only been here since 2018. He doesn't know any of the players. I will say this: he didn't know the disgraced Congressman Steve Stockman, but he is taking everything David Covey and Davis has to say, and they have their own group. And you know this, Kevin. You've been around a long time.
The True Texas
The
bit.
people that yell the loudest are heard first. Okay, so you get 7 people yell loud, and everybody goes, "Ooh, there's a movement." No, there's not a movement. There's just 7 people yelling loud.
Let me hit this up real quick. He appointed many of these radical liberals to key committee chair positions.
Not true.
Betraying, according to Platts, not only those of us who voted for him, but also violating a core principle, the Republican Party of Texas. Shiloh Platt's writing in the Enterprise, I was furious. Should he be furious? Why are so many conservatives, Republican, from Rick Perry to George W., Republican governors have always
and an inclusive government.
And Republican speakers have always been appointing, have always supported, and have always been appointing Democrats to some committee chair positions, anyway, if not key ones. The reason being is the constitutional amendments, which takes 2/3 of the vote to get through. You have to have some Democrats alongside you, or you can't pass any kind of constitutional amendment. This appears to have been a session that where that would play into it. This is pretty damning against the speaker, and I think unfairly so.
Unfairly. And let me tell you, somebody that's been a lobbyist, me, in the state of Texas, somebody that works with political candidates all over the United States, being me, I can tell you that we are learning very quickly. You're going to get nothing passed in any legislature throughout the United States, including our federal legislature, unless you get Democrats to come over to your side, unless you get Republicans to come over to your side. And that's
Especially in
why
Texas. Yeah.
today, right, for example, I'll give you a prime example. Today it was announced that the Republicans and Democrats in Washington, D.C. have come to a decision on the budget, and
Right.
there will be no more kicking the can down the road. They're going to put it on the table a week from, I think, today or tomorrow, week from tomorrow. They're going to put it on the floor, and they're going to start the markup process, and they'll have it done in 2 days, and they'll have it passed. They got the votes. Now, is there going to be some screaming from the far right? Absolutely. Is there going to be some screaming from the far left? Yes. But they will have the 2/3 majority to get it passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now our government is kind of functioning. Oh my God, it's functioning. Do we all like what they're going to pass? No. Are we trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt? Absolutely.
34.
Function.
Like we've made it up to 34 trillion. If you
Well, we're going to function. Now, let's bring that back down to Texas. Let's bring it to Texas. Dade Phelan cannot do anything in that legislature unless he has a 2/3 majority. He has to have some Democrats. Some Democrats are very, very conservative when it comes to the budget. Some Democrats are very, very liberal when it comes to social issues. Okay, so
yeah,
it's just the way our government is now.
I love some of my conservative friends who say, "Look, what's happening in the in the U.S. House? You don't put Democrats on committee positions." Well, you don't very much, but it's a little bit of a different form of government in Texas. House speakers have always done this. It's not new.
Hell, I can go back to the time when I used to lobby the Texas Workers Compensation Fund.
Okay.
And remember back then it was so expensive to have workers' comp. Then we had to go solo, and it was just horrific. And the Speaker of the House brought me in and said, "Hey, you got a great bill here." And I said, "Well, thank you." He says, "I think I got the votes." Okay. 24 hours later, I came back in and he goes, "Hey, you have a great bill here." And I said, "Great." He goes, "I ain't got the votes. It's dead."
Yeah, one of those.
Because we had to give up votes for another bill for this bill.
Yeah. I
cut my teeth learning that you have to have both sides of the fence working together to pass a bill that a governor will sign.
Well, to that point about the op-ed piece in the Beaumont Enterprise, Shiloh Platts certainly found a strong enemy in the Jefferson County Republican Party chair, who said, "One of my precinct chairs took to the Beaumont Enterprise to bash Speaker Dade Phelan. While that's his First Amendment right, I do not agree with him. Last election cycle, the Jefferson County Republican Party made historic gains, winning 5 of 6 of those races. None of that would have been possible without the financial, political, and intellectual support of Speaker Phelan. Yes, as the chairman of the party, I'm telling every Republican in the county, if it were not for the help of Speaker Phelan, we would not have been able to elect commissioners, the mayor of the city of Beaumont, etc. The people who are attacking Phelan," he says, "did not lift a finger, knock on a door, or raise a dime to get Republicans elected in Jefferson County." Now, all of a sudden, he refers to these do-nothings who want to come to tell you to not support Dade. Is Joe Evans, is he right? Did I got to think some of these guys have knocked on a door somewhere there? No?
Well, they've knocked on a door for their candidate, which is Covey or Davis. Now, let me say this. That is what I call an old-fashioned political bitch slap. And when you get the chairman of the party come out and bitch slap one of his precinct chairmans, I mean, he's sending a message. Now, do I agree?
Because the precinct chair has if you will, look, when you fight the bull, man, you got to take the horns.
Exactly. Joe Evans and I don't get along much, and I have all the due respect as him being chairman of the Republican Party. You and I have discussed this before on air. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with Joe Evans being an elected official and the chairman of the Jefferson County Republican Party. Everybody needs to remember he sits on the board of the Beaumont Independent School District.
Okay.
I think it's an oxymoron. I don't think it works. I think it doesn't work for him. You got to, give an example. He voted against this young boy that, and I forget the young man's name. We covered it extensively. Now his parents are big Republicans, been Republicans, given money to Republicans, have packed their bags, sold their house, they're out of here. And I think because Joe Evans voted against their Marchand was his name, because Joe Evans voted against Marchand. Marchand didn't do anything wrong. This is just a bunch of liberal whack jobs inside the Beaumont Independent School District that pushed this little boy out. And so in some ways, I think Evans has drank the Kool-Aid being an elected official, but now he hops back over the fence to the Republican side and says, well, Shiloh shouldn't have said what he said. Okay, I agree with that.
Well, I see where he's coming from.
You can't do both jobs. And so where I'm going with this is that Shiloh needs to understand that if he thinks that he has the answer for Jefferson County, then maybe he needs to step up to the plate and run for county judge, but county chairman. But
Joe Evans doesn't think he'll.
But if we want to be honest with ourselves, there's a reason Shiloh ran for office, right? He ran for 21 for a period of 48 hours. I mean, if Shiloh's going to run for political office more than 48 hours, it tells me there might be something in his backfield that he doesn't want everyone to know. And so
I think the op-ed was overly critical of Dade Phelan, and I think Dade Phelan has done a tremendous job. Done
a great job. Done a great job.
And it's just I just can't understand why so many conservatives have our real enemy is the Democratic Party, if you will, and. If Republicans do what Democrats did for decades, which was infight and sort of tear each other up and eat their own, then we'll be in the position Democrats were for
But
decades.
these guys don't care. These guys are radical right-wing nutbags, and that's what they are. David Covey, again, Steve Stockman. It's the old Steve Stockman play. He worked with Steve. He was a supporter of Steve. He grew up over in Orange County with Steve. He watched Steve Stockman win against Jack Brooks, and because this is what Stockman did. He beat the hell out of Jack Brooks. Little did Steve Stockman know, because I talked to Steve the night he won, and I said, you didn't win this because you beat him up. You won this because he came out against the NRA, and people down here are not going to go against the NRA. Right. That's why you won. Don't fool yourself.
Well, we may agree, we may disagree, but I always love Philip Klein in the Southeast Texas Review. Only about 40 gazillion viewers now at this point, right?
25 million a year. Page views.
Oh my God.
25 million. Remember when I first started off, I was 6,000. I used to go to you guys and say, I don't think this is going to work. And it's gone from 6,000 the first year to 25 million page views a year. It's unbelievable.
You need to retire. You work too hard.
Oh, look at these bags. I feel so
I
feel like a bag.
You're the greatest. Great to talk with you.
Thank you, Kevin. You're always great to talk to you. You're wonderful.
See you soon.